Hello and welcome to my channel. If you are new to this channel, my name is Frank Tu and I'm a college professor teaching sociology, history and philosophy. I'm also an award-winning landscape photographer. Today's video is the second episode of my video series on the ancient Greek civilization, which laid the foundation for the entire Western culture. Nowadays, almost every aspect of Western culture, such as philosophy, democracy, art, language, etc., can be traced back to the ancient Greek civilization. This video series covers a wide range of topics. In the first episode, I made a brief introduction and concentrated on the ancient Greek philosophy. If you missed it, please check it out on my channel. Today, I'm going to focus on the political system. In my next video, which will be the last episode, I will be talking about its art, its religion, and its social life. Please subscribe if you are interested. By the way, this video series is based on my published book, Essentials of World History. The emergence of its political system had a lot to do with the Greek geographic features. As I pointed out in the first episode, the ancient Greeks built many city-states which were culturally linked but politically independent. Each city-state was a political unit with its own system of governing. The development of city-states was mostly a result of its unique geographic conditions. A large number of mountains and rivers had kept the units of human settlement rather small and isolated. A small region could only support a limited number of people. As the population grew, some people would have to move to new locations. The small size and geographic isolation forced these communities to follow their own separate paths and develop their own ways of governing. In isolation, it was impossible for a centralized state or empire to develop. Therefore, it was up to the local communities to take the responsibility of maintaining law and order in Greece. The city-state, which was called polis in the Greek language, thus became the basic political unit in maintaining law and order. Now, let me explain the word polis. Originally, polis had referred to a citadel or fortified site that provided protection for local people in case of attack. As these sites gradually grew bigger in size and attracted more and more people, many of them became prosperous commercial centers. Eventually, they extended their authority over surrounding regions. By about 800 BCE, many polis had flourished as the principal centers of Greek society. With each independent community, the small size of population made it possible for people to participate personally and directly in public affairs. Over time, a democratic system was successfully established in most city-states, among which the city-state of Athens was the largest and the most typical of the ancient Greek city-states. Of course, although democracy as a political system was most common in ancient Greece, there were other systems such as monarchy, oligarchy, and tyranny. But for the sake of today's video, let's take a look at the city-state of Athens. Our constitution is called a democracy because power is in the hands not of a minority but of the whole people. When it is a question of settling private disputes, everyone is equal before the law. Just as our political life is free and open, so is our day-to-day life in our relations with each other. Here, each individual is interested not only in his own affairs, but in the affairs of state as well. In this famous speech, Pericles, who was the great Athenian leader who had built Athens into a monumental city with magnificent architecture, described the Athenian political system. Under his political leadership, Athens became a model of Greek democracy. The word democracy derives from the Greek word demo, which referred to the entire citizen body of a certain district. Athens was governed by an assembly that was made up of all its adult, free male citizens. Please note here, there were no women, no children, and no foreigners. Every citizen had an equal say in the decision-making process, and every citizen had the right to vote in the assembly, and they could speak freely about their own opinions on various issues. The Assembly of Athens met at least once a month, perhaps 2 or 3 times, in a dedicated open space which could accommodate as many as 6,000 citizens. The assembly was responsible for many aspects of the Athenians' life. Any citizen could speak, at least in theory, and vote in the assembly, usually with a simple show of hands. For certain periods of the year, people would be paid for attending the assembly, especially for those who lived far away. Members of the assembly were organized on the basis of neighborhood. Political and social identity was thus based on geographical residence in the city, not on class or wealth, and there was no such thing as political parties. This concept of civil identity and equality played a crucial role in the political system, and it contributed to social stability of the city-state. This kind of system allowed new residents to come and bring new ideas. Such political tolerance also contributed to making Athens and other Greek city-states prosperous. The functions of the assembly were many and various. For example, the assembly could pass laws, judge criminal and civil cases, although there were other mechanisms to pass laws. Issues discussed in the assembly ranged from deciding magistrates to organizing and maintaining food supplies to debating military matters. The assembly could issue decrees which could be challenged by the law courts. However, ancient Greece did not have official judges in their judicial systems. There were only jury courts. In these courts, 2 litigants would argue whether an unlawful act had been committed. Both parties presented their arguments, and the jury reached a verdict. In Athens, jurors also swore an oath to judge fairly and impartially. Juries could have as many as 1,500 members and were made up of volunteers who were at least 30 years old. Above the assembly was the second component of Greek city-state democracy, the council. Elected by the assembly, council members would meet more often, which decided or prioritized the topics which were to be discussed in the assembly. In addition, in times of crisis and war, this body could also take decisions without the assembly meeting. The council members were chosen by lot and had a limited term of office, which acted as a kind of executive committee of the assembly. On the third level were magistrates, who were usually elected by the council from a list of names of major property owners. They were responsible for daily administration, such as controlling the treasury and supervising public works and the agora or marketplace. By the way, as I shall explain in my next video, agora was a hub of commercial, political, and social life. The number of magistrates, their functions, and their service time varied over time. Initially, magistrates could govern for life. Democracy in ancient Greece was one of the first forms of self-government in the ancient world. The unique political system in Greek city-states directly involved their citizens in the decision-making process. People had a strong sense of duty and obligation to participate in public affairs. In Athens, citizens were required to participate in the political process, and those who didn't were sometimes fined or marked with a red paint. Some historians have claimed that the democracy in ancient Greece was the purest democracy in history. Moreover, the activities and responsibilities of assemblies made it important that people, especially young men, should learn to think logically and speak persuasively. Wisdom and knowledge were respected and admired. It is no wonder that Greece produced some of the greatest philosophers in history. This system, especially the ideas of equality and individual rights, had profound influence on how democracy developed all over the world throughout the course of human history until nowadays. I must point out that the ancient Greek democracy was the so-called direct democracy because its citizens participated directly. As I said at the beginning, direct democracy was made possible by the unique geographical features. The modern-day democracy is a representative democracy, where people participate through their representatives. Another point I want to make is that the ancient Greek democracy was rudimentary, because it only allowed male citizens to vote in the decision-making process. In any case, its influence can never be over-exaggerated. Its impact on the formation of the US government, for example, was particularly huge. I may make a video talking about this in the future. Please let me know if you are interested. Well, that is all that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for watching this video, which is the second episode of my video series on the ancient Greek civilization. I will be looking forward to seeing you in the next video, which is the last episode.